This episode of Fresh and Buds is brought to you by Dorinthios, everybody's favorite cereal made from steel blade cut oats, folks. They are delicious and I love them. Fresh and Buds now.
Fresh and
All right, folks, welcome back to yet another episode of Fresh and Buds. I'm your host, Tommy Fresh, and you are all of my buds, and I'm very excited this week to welcome Liv from T and TCG on YouTube. How's it going, Liv? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's going well. I'm very excited to be here. I think this is the most exciting podcast I've ever been on, so I'm looking forward to the hour.
Listen, I mean, I really appreciate that. And you said an hour. We're going for about 5, Liv. I'm surprising you.
Perfect.
You said it was your
Good. Yeah.
exciting podcast. It's going to be the most exciting 5-hour podcast of your life. But
Perfect.
Very, very happy to have you. We're going to have a good time. We got a great show for you all. We're going to get to know Liv, and then we are going to talk a little bit about. I want to talk about sea creatures, to be honest, because of one of your videos, Liv. And we just saw, as of today, we've seen 2 of Arachne's like demi-heroes that we kind of speculated on last week. So I want to touch on that. We got some great listener questions as well. But first, we got to get to know Liv, our new bud. Not even new. You've listened to the show. You've been a bud. You're here. Continuous bud. What's your origin story, Liv? Because and we'll talk about it. You've had a great start to your content creating career, but in listening to that, I can definitely tell that there's a lot of knowledge about, well, just content creation and TCGs in general. So where does it all start for you?
I think I'm actually fairly new to TCGs, not so much to content, but definitely to games. I would say that Flesh and Blood is actually my first TCG, which is a little bit surprising for some people, I think. I did play some casual Magic, so I had like a Yuriko deck, so ninjutsu kind of stuff, and I would play like some weekends and things with my friends. But yeah, mostly it's just been Flesh and Blood, especially competitively. Like I've never done anything else. Competitively, I mean, do I play Fab competitively? I don't know. You say armory and callings? I'd say so.
There's something about Flesh and Blood that no matter what, when you sit down and play a game, it feels like you're really going back and forth, right? You're not doing too much crazy shenanigans, but that's cool. So you hinted at content. Maybe you're not as new to it. So what's the story there? Because there's clearly you have a knack for at least the
Thank you.
awesome like content you've put out so far.
Thank you. Oh no. I guess it's gonna come out. I did TikTok for about 5 years. I still have my TikTok page. So I wouldn't say like an influencer, but I've definitely been a content creator for about, I guess it's like half a decade now, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, so I've always made like videos that are very fun and just kind of me being there. But I kind of like the feedback you always get on that is to find a niche. So when I started playing Fab, I was thinking like, wow, I wonder if I could do some of this on my TikTok, but there's not really a market for it there. And I remember somebody suggested like YouTube videos a while ago. I think it was my friend Chris. Said something, I just kind of clicked. I was like, why don't I just do this kind of content creation TikTok stuff, but on somewhere where there might be more of an audience for Fab. So I made my first YouTube video, and everyone at the armories was kind of expecting it to be a bit cringe, a bit bad, but I came out with it and I got a lot of feedback like, actually, that was really good, and everyone was very surprised. So yeah, I just kind of kept going from that one. But yeah, I'm very excited to finally move into Flesh and Blood rather than just kind of general TikTok stuff.
Well, I mean, golly, the such supportive armory members to think it was going to be cringe. Man, you know what? I'm glad you proved them wrong. Now, TikTok is, yeah, you mentioned it. It's never really been a great flesh and blood kind of platform. I don't know why that is. I think that it's the algorithm there is I guess a little bit different than what we're used to in terms of like YouTube is like the best algorithm, I think, for like discovering the niche stuff. And TikTok,
100%.
you can get to that point, but you gotta like train that algorithm. It feels like you're just like, I gotta make sure I like this before it's gone, because I'll never see it again. So what kind of content were you doing there? You said like general content?
Yeah, I had a study channel for like uni students and high school students. It's very different from this. But yeah, I just talk about like study tips and do day in my life as a student and all sorts of things. I did a video recently with the intercity bus where I showed that you can like take the bus to anywhere while you're a student because you can study on it. I'm not sure how much studying I really got done on the bus, but it definitely was an option. But yeah, just a bunch of content very vaguely related to uni. And studying and that kind of thing. But yeah, definitely not fab.
I mean, listen, I was never much of a studier. I think the listeners could probably tell that by listening to this podcast. But that is pretty sweet, and honestly, much more applicable than Flesh and Blood. But there is some stuff that kind of relates in that study world that you can apply to Flesh and Blood, and you've done some videos for beginners, and you've also done some videos for the more ingrained players, right? Or at least the more enfranchised fans of the game. Do you find yourself with that kind of study idea that you had on TikTok, that you still do? Do you find yourself wanting to maybe start giving tips on like YouTube for Flesh and Blood of saying like, hey, this is a daunting game. We all know this is a daunting game at times because it can be very difficult and you could lose. You don't even realize how. Have you thought of giving that kind of like, hey, listen, we can all do this together?
Yeah. I mean, I know. There's so much of that already. I think on YouTube, there's a lot of tips and tricks. Like I always see videos, like mistakes to avoid, like how I got better. I think especially looking at very competitive good players talking about that kind of stuff, I always want to watch that kind of video. And I know that's what people gravitate towards. I guess in the beginner video, I kind of talk about tips and working on getting better and stuff. But I think, honestly, I'd rather just keep my content kind of like, not more general, but less focused on the skill and more focused on the game as a whole. Mm-hmm. So like the lore behind it, like getting into it, getting your friends into it. I think that's maybe as I get better, I'd be more confident doing that. But I think right now, what people want from me is probably not gameplay stuff because I'm not the best player in the world, like by any means. And I've still got so much to learn. But I guess I kind of apply a lot of the study stuff to Flesh and Blood. Like I have a new video coming out. I think it's scheduled for the 28th. But it's New Year's resolution / beginner tips. Okay. That I'm kind of thinking about. And then that kind of follows a little bit of the study stuff, like, you can write down your mistakes and kind of learn from that. And you can try and, play with good players. And rather than getting upset when you lose or kind of just like not thinking about it so you don't get feeling bad about it, it's more like listening to what they have to say and like really taking in the advice and using it as an opportunity. So those kind of tips and kind of game improvement strategies, I'm pretty happy to give. But I think a specific, like, these are the things you can do to get better, I'm just not quite at that point now. I think there's a lot of people that would do it a lot better than me already. So, yeah.
Well, I gotta say, we live in a world where like our best players are making content too, right? And like we're very lucky as Flesh and Blood fans and content consumers that exists. But I think there's something to be said. And you mentioned something I'm like not passionate about, but like I really like always in trading card games, especially coming from the Magic side of things, the salt, right? And you mentioned like not getting so upset, and that is something that's meant a lot to me for a long time. Is like, listen, there is variants in this game, these games, like trading card games in general, it's a deck of cards, right? It's
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
even Flesh and Blood until you pitch deck is like you don't know what you're going to be drawing, right? So you can play your heart out and even have a great matchup and still lose, and I think that that's very important. And like, listen, I think people need to hear that stuff because it's not fun for people to be upset when they lose, and it's not fun for the winner because you're like, oh man.
Yeah. Yeah, I found myself like almost feeling bad when I won my first few games because I'd gone from being a very kind of beginnery, not so good, kind of like, oh, I'm just kind of here to play cards, to winning, at least a couple games per armory. And at the beginning, I would feel really bad. Like, I'd be like, oh, sorry, I won. That's so, like, just not it. I think whoever, like, losing or winning, I think in Flesh and Blood especially, people know there's a lot of variance. And a lot of the games are so close. And it's just, you should feel good about playing it, and you should feel good, like, whether you win or lose, and always see it as an opportunity. I've never minded losing. I think you get used to it after a while, especially coming into Flesh and Blood. But if you're one of those people who takes it really hard when you lose, I think there's probably some work to be done. I mean, I could probably give advice on that. Like, it's okay to learn from your losses, especially in this game.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we're gonna lose. It's gonna happen quite a bit, and you hinted at something actually great about this game that kind of makes the diehards come back and like really fall in love with the game. Is like, games can be close even when you're just starting out. You're like, wow, it ended at 1-1.
Yeah.
And maybe
Exactly.
the opponent had a better plan or something like that. But that is very exciting. It means like you're just that close now.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the Night at the Armory kind of feeling. I think that video captures it so well. It's just I was so close, like I want to keep playing to kind of get that rush, get that feeling.
I sent that video to every one of my friends that I used to play cards with that don't play cards anymore. I'm like, guys, it just like when we started in high school, like, I promise. But that's awesome. Now, speaking of the content, I think it's safe to say, well, now we know your background. It's just a TikTok star, 5 years, half a decade, biggest TikToker in the world, come into Flesh and Blood. 3 months, 4 Flesh and Blood videos, and like already over 1,000 subs. How does that make you feel, first of all? And kind of like, what was the thoughts after that first video, and what made you to continue this journey?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, the 1,000 subscribers is, I still honestly don't really believe it because they came so fast, and I think that's really a testament to the community more than anything. I remember my first video being shared around. I think Mara Ferris shared it. I know Sloop Doop shared it, and just everyone was like commenting and liking and reposting, and the feeling of that, it really made me feel so validated that I chose the perfect game and the perfect community, because it really just shows how lovely and welcoming and excited people are about new content coming in, which is really amazing. So if anyone is listening that has subscribed, which there actually probably are people, thank you so much. It really does make me feel amazing. And I mean, the first video was the Zen video, and there were like audio problems and all sorts of things. I was like, I could have done so much better. But no, like the support in the comments and everything, everyone was just so nice about it. And just that kind of support from everybody made me feel like I need immediately to make a new video. Like I'll try a different tone, I'll do the beginner kind of style, I'll do it in a different voice, and then see. And then on the second one, it was the same amount of support. It's just so incredible, like really, really amazing. And really much a testament to the community. I think like the close-knitness, and everyone's just so nice.
Yeah, they really are great, and it comes up all the time on this podcast and other podcasts as well, that like we are so blessed to have such a great community. And also, we have now we're getting to the point we have a nice handful of the video essay style content creators, yourself, Mike from Blockout Party, who was on a couple of weeks ago, the Gorganian Tome. There is a shortage of it. I think we should have more, but like it almost feels like, wow, we have some great ones, and you're kind of shooed right in there. Now, what kind of drew you to that style of content? Because it's when you think of like a video game or a card game or anything like that. Personally, I don't think of the video essay style of content first, but it's one of those things that you end up being like, wow, I'm glad that this exists. I just watched something on the data from Steam and like what that meant and what kind of genres were like the most made games.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, this is so cool. What drew you to that?
I mean, video essays have always been something I'm quite interested in. I think we were talking before we started today about like kind of the stuff you put on in the background. And I've always been one of those kind of people that has some sort of really long YouTube video about something crazy. I think I watched one like the something $1 million black hole in Texas, and it was about these like facilities, and it's like 3 hours long and heaps of parts. And I just find that so interesting. So there's that. And then also I feel like Fab has this amazing history and lore despite only being 5 years old or so. Like, it's not a super old game. Magic has so much. And I think one of the other creators is Ristic Studies. A few people commented on my Kraken video like, oh, this is kind of reminiscent of Ristic Studies. It gives that vibe. And I was so honored to get that comment because it's just such amazing content coming from that channel. So I was like, I've got this video style essay thing kind of going on, and then you've got this Ristic Studies card game thing, and just putting them together was very exciting. I like writing scripts and things like that, and I like researching, and my partner does as well. So we kind of like work together on these scripts, looking through the Fab history and looking to other videos for ideas. It kind of just all comes together very nicely. I think it gives someone to kind of something for people to listen to in the background, which is nice because I think some things you have to be very engaged. Like, okay, we're looking at this card and then that, and it's moving very fast. Whereas I feel the video essays are just laid back and kind of you can listen to them even if you're not into Fab, which I think is important as well. You can kind of just, ooh, this is interesting, this is fun. I like to do that stuff I don't really know anything about, but I just like to kind of hear it.
Yeah, and I think that you actually do this very well in your videos. That you kind of not blur, I guess blur the lines between the history and lore of this game, and you blur it into the kind of gameplay and competitive history of the game, right? You did your Zen video, and then like the one of my favorite ones, the Kraken's Aether Vein video, was like this. It felt like such a cohesive story of Icelander and her staves, but also through the lens of like her legality in the game, which was which was like really interesting, and I think it is pretty unique to Flesh and Blood too, because Flesh and Blood, like, the story and the lore is very contained, I think, in a good way, right? Like, we have that one map. It's like, this is where everything's happening right now. I'm sure it's going to expand at some point, but this is where everything's happening, and where these characters are from and what they're doing, and to a certain extent, and you can almost let your mind race a little bit, and to have someone like you kind of say, hey, listen, look at how this kind of lines up with how things are going in CC and then Living Legend. It's very cool. Now, you hinted at a video coming out on the 28th, which will be out in a week from when this video drops.
Oh, yes.
And very excited for that, first of all. Besides that, what are some other plans for some videos and content?
There's so much. So I have that one, which is like a New Year's kind of video. You can like see I've still got the Christmas decorations up. But I filmed that a couple of weeks ago now. I have to take them down because I'm filming a video. I won't say too much, but it's about masks. And in Flesh and Blood, because Arachne and Mask of Perdition is very topical at the moment. So that one I'm so excited about. My partner helped me write that one as well. And the way that he kind of puts the lore in with the gameplay, he knows a lot more about specifics, so he can help me make it very accessible, I think. So I'm so excited for that one. It's very cool. It also takes in some Japanese history and drama and kind of things like that. So it's a bit more research, I'd say, than my other ones, but I'm so excited for people to see that one. And then I've also found some victims or friends, I should say, for my beginner Learn to Play Flesh and Blood video, which will be coming out hopefully in early January. And of course, there's the spoiler video, which I'm not going to say anything about lest I spill any secrets.
No
accidentally. But so those are like 4 kind of coming out videos soon. But I'm really excited, and I hope that people kind of also share my excitement for them. I'm trying them different styles just to kind of see. Yeah, I'm so excited.
I mean, it is very exciting because you just mentioned 4 videos in what I'm assuming going to be at least the next month and a half. That's double the videos you did in the first 3 months of the channel. That's like, boom.
It is.
So you're being put to work, Liv, and we appreciate it here in the community. Now, I got to talk about the Kraken Aethervein video, specifically because I loved it, but also because I was almost teased a little bit, Liv. And I don't want to, I don't want to make it seem like I was upset, but when I see underwater Kraken, I'm like, oh, we're going to get some Riptide stuff going on in this video. He's lurking in the deep. Like, that's where he is. like that's what I want. But, it was definitely all about, Kraken's Aethervein, although you did hint at
it was
nautical themes and stuff like that. The question is, and you say you've played a little bit of Magic, and one of the, and I think I've mentioned this before on the show, but I think we're primed to get Merfolk in Flesh and Blood. I think it works. I think you can make a Merfolk any kind of class. Merfolk can even be a talent, perhaps, or something like that. Mm-hmm. Do you think we're getting that with all of that research you did for the Kraken's Aethervein video? It was like, there's got to be something going on.
I don't want to say too much because that also does hint at another video that I've been very slowly working through. But how can we not get some sort of underwater like pirate hero or something like that? I think absolutely. If they don't, I will be so sad. I think a pirate hero would be amazing, and I think all the things, we've got all these demi-hero stuff coming out, and I think something like that, but underwater, or like pirates that fight with creatures. Like, have you seen Pirates of the? Is it Caribbean or Caribbean? I don't know. Caribbean. Have you seen like that?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think they pronounce it Pirates of the Caribbean, but like when like, let's say I was going to the Bahamas, I would say I'm going to the Caribbean.
Yeah.
So
yeah, okay.
Potato.
I'm gonna say Caribbean for like movie trilogy, or I guess it's like 6 movies, movie sake. But I feel like if you had like a Davy Jones hero, I was talking about this in the car the other day, so it's fresh in my mind. Like a Davy Jones hero with all the different like sea creature demi. That'd be so cool. It would be so cool. Like some pirate. I don't know. There's so many things. And I'm sure, how can they not do it? Because it's just, there's the sunken treasure. Oh, there's so much. 100%.
I certainly hope so, because you mentioned, and actually I'm bringing this up right now. This is something that actually I don't think I ever read on the podcast, but a while back, actually I can see when it was. It was in July, Liv. I was streaming some Riptide gameplay. Just a nice little chill stream, playing Riptide. Win some, you lose some, as is the Riptide life. And somebody from LSS popped into the stream and just dropped a sea shanty of sorts. Beneath the waves where the shadows writhe, the butcher waits with a hunter's scythe. Hid mind a maze of twisted schemes as he stalks his prey in the filth of seethe. Now, I don't know if that was really somebody from LSS or just somebody who made like an account. And then they said, "Oh hi, just letting you know that some lore was going to." Oh maybe it already dropped. They said it was going to drop today or tomorrow on the Fab website. Oh, some lore, and then they said, we wrote an entire Riptide sea shanty that hopefully will release one day. The text above is the flavor on Murky Water promo. I don't think we ever got this Murky Water promo. I don't know.
I don't recall anything. I don't know.
But anyway, whenever I think about like what possibly could be coming, because there was some speculation with the Hunted coming out that might be the pirate set, because we've certainly gotten a lot of hints at it. We didn't get it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the summer. I mean, well, summer for Northern Hemisphere, winter for you guys. But you know, listen, pirates, they do stuff in the winter too, I'm sure. What are some other nautical themes you'd like to see in Flesh and Blood? Not just more Kraken stuff or pirates. Is there, because you mentioned in your video that you were a big fan of that kind of the sea and everything like that.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much. I'm sure some sort of like new mechanics for, I don't even know, like the ocean and waves and something like that. Like surely certain, in Yu-Gi-Oh! Where like different fields give you different advantages, like that kind of thing. Like something to do with like in the water. I think that would be so. Oh, there goes my microphone. I think that'd be so interesting. Cool, that went flying. Oh, it's like the waves, carrying it off. It's on theme.
We're leaving it in.
Yeah, no, okay, that's fine. Yeah, I'm just excited. It's fine. But yeah, like some sort of wave, like terrain stuff. I think underwater is very cool, but also overwater, like ships and things like that. I think that would be so cool. We've already got like sunken treasure themes going on, so surely something to do with that, like finding treasure. Maybe something like Melody, like you trade in like coins and things like that to get other stuff. I think there's just so much possibility, and I'm really excited to see what LSS comes out with, because so far the lore has been pretty good. I'm very confident in something really cool.
Oh yeah, and in terms of the mechanics, which you mentioned Yu-Gi-Oh. I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh hater. I always have been, but I think I had some bad experiences as a child. But like yeah, I do think some terrain stuff, and I think dredging. I like the idea of dredging stuff up from like hopefully the graveyard or something like that. You kind of do a little bit of like theoretical dredging with Riptide now, where you banish some traps from your graveyard, or you do plan for the worst and stuff like that, which is a lot of fun. But honestly, Liv, your video really got me more hyped for the set that we don't know if it's even coming. But I am super stoked, which I think it would be, and the fact that they mentioned Kraken's Aether's Vein and like that original art or alternate art of Kraken's Aether Vein.
Yeah, the new art.
Yeah, in the devs talk, just makes me think that they're like dropping little breadcrumbs. We're like, all right, it's
like,
coming.
They're thinking of it, like Easter eggs for us. They're definitely. Oh yeah. Oh, I'd be very surprised if we didn't get some sort of water pirate undersea thing coming out, and like it's like the ranger equipment and everything like working together. Have you seen I think it's like on Twitter or something, the post with the ranger cards and how they work to like do things? I don't know.
No,
it's very cool. There's some very cool stuff.
Okay,
I'll see if I can find it after. Yeah. It looks very exciting. Like there's things that work together. I think there's going to be something pretty cool coming.
Yeah, I do hope so. Not to say that the Hunted isn't exciting as well, and we'll talk a little bit about the Hunted, because as of this recording, I mentioned we've seen 2 of Arachne's demi-heroes.
Yes.
How are you feeling about the chaos that is coming in this new set?
I am so excited. I don't know if I mentioned before, but I am a assassin Zuri kind of lover. I think she's very cool, and I think that I know it's not meant to be like this, but the Arachne kind of swapping thing where she kind of transforms, or they transform and then turn into something else and then come back again. I feel like that's very kind of ninjutsu assassin kind of style. I think it's going to be so exciting and so fun, and I cannot wait to see how it actually all turns out and works together. I'm so excited. Yeah,
it is super cool, and Arachne was always like the coolest reveal in Dynasty, and you're like, whoa, this assassin, and like killed the Emperor, that's so cool. And now we're saying like Arachne's like maybe a little bit more than just an assassin, perhaps like some kind of demon. Which is also pretty cool. And for those of you who don't know what the new Arachne says/does, it is a chaos assassin hero. It's a new talent. Arachne Marionette is the adult one. Your attacks with stealth that are attacking a marked hero get +1, and when this hits, this gets go again. At the beginning of your end phase, if an opponent is marked, you become a random agent of chaos. So we saw the kind of like sneak peek of the agents of chaos. We didn't know that's what they were going to be called at the time. I think there's 6 of them, and looks like you can roll a die to do it, although I don't think Gambler's Gloves works with it. Apparently, you can't re-roll. But so you're going to become one of these agents of chaos at random. The first one we saw was Arachne Black Widow, and they're all kind of different themes from the assassin stuff. And it's a demi-hero, so you become this hero, and it says once per turn, attack reaction, discard an assassin card. Target assassin attack gets +3 if it has stealth. It gets, when this hits a hero, they banish a card from their hand, which is obviously a really good effect. And then it says at the beginning of your end phase, return to the brood. So you revert back to your base hero. And notably, these are tokens. And so you'll just have them, right? It's not like you need to give up any sideboard slots like you do with Levia. So very, very cool. I got to find the other one. The other one's not up on the Fabry website yet, I just noticed. But the other one was the tarantula one, I believe. Does that sound familiar?
Looks so cool. I think I saw that this morning.
It's the coolest
so
art.
Cool.
Yeah, I actually just found it. Cool. Arachne Tarantula, Agent of Chaos, another Chaos Assassin demi-hero. Whenever a dagger you own hits a hero, they lose a life. Once per turn, attack reaction, discard an assassin card, target dagger attack gets +3. So it's very clear that every single one of these demi-heroes is going to do something that an assassin cares about. And as an assassin fan yourself, how does this make you feel? Do you like the fact that you're going to get some random buff, or do you kind of just want something streamlined?
Honestly, I feel like the random buff is very on theme, very chaotic, and it's probably what they were going for. Mm-hmm. And I think that it will be such a change, because I know like New likes to play in a very controlled manner. Like at the end, you're just, you're very disciplined. You're activating your mask, and you're, just trying to get cards out of their hand, basically. And you can't kind of just go crazy. That was my mistake at the beginning. You just very much going crazy with her. Same with Azure, like, it's very mid-rangey. You block 2, use 2, don't go too crazy. I feel like with this Arachne, it's just gonna give you kind of agency to do that and not feel like you're going off your game plan or whatever. Very, very much looking forward to the more chaotic, more kind of chance aspect to it. Because, like if they're on low life and you get the dagger one, that's perfect. But then something else, you could trick them, get cards. I think it's going to be so amazing.
It is going to be cool. And I love when you have to build your deck to be ready for anything. And this just makes you have to be ready to do whatever an assassin does, right? So you can't just be like, this is control or chaos Arachne. No, this has got to be it's got to be all 6. So that is pretty sweet. Now, speaking of chaos, though, we finally saw the finished product of Brody Spurlock's card that he got to design from winning whatever. It was at the world premiere in Queenstown. Yeah,
the celebrational after that one, I think. The celebrational. Yeah.
Got to design a card, and Brody's on a card. I think it's awesome. I love when card games do this. And for the listeners at home and the viewers, because I'm not going to edit this in, it's a blue chaos action, so not assassin. Cost 0. Each hero secretly chooses a number between 1 and 6. Then those numbers are revealed. The hero that chose the highest number loses that much life, searches their deck for a card with cost less than or equal to the chosen number, reveals it, puts it into their hand, then shuffles, and it has go again. It blocks for 3. I don't know if I said that. I don't know, Liv, if you saw the original design of this card, but this is way cleaner. I'll say that.
Yes. That's, yep.
It's also called Spurlocked. I don't know if I said that, which is obviously Brody's last name.
It's so cool.
Yeah.
I think that's so amazing that he like have that. And I did see the original one. I think it very much embodied the chaos theme, but I don't know that that's quite what was kind of being aimed at there. So I think the new one looks amazing. The final product is so cool. The art is so cool. And I was talking about this yesterday. I feel like once you have a card of yourself, you never have to wonder if you've made it ever again. Like that's just, like that's it. That's the ceiling of enjoying a game, loving a game, being part of a game. I think you have a card of yourself. Amazing. So cool.
It is so cool, and honestly, it feels very Brody. I love it. And you know what my first thought was here when I saw this card and read it was feels and this is a compliment. This feels like a Mario Party minigame on a card. Like, oh, let's just get into some random game theory right now.
Yeah.
What number am I picking, opponent? Figure it out, and like what could go wrong? If you want to pick 6, maybe I pick 1 and you lose 5 life. And I do love this card. Is it playable though? I'm not sure.
I mean, surely they're like, it doesn't matter if it's playable. Like I think try playing it for sure.
Yeah.
Just to see. But I think like trying to figure out your opponent is very assassin like. Like trying to trick people on this or whatever, that kind of thing. Like, do I have it? Do I not? I think that really is very similar to that. So I like it. I quite like it. And I think that if anyone can think through what their opponent is thinking and what the most likely outcome is, it's probably Brody. So I think that the card is very fitting.
Yeah, I think Brody, and if you're listening out there, Brody, you should have put something on the card that gave you another 5 minutes to think about your turn as well. But no, we love you, Brody. Now with all that, we're seeing the storyline of Uprising, Dynasty, and Hunted, I guess, come to a close, or at least it's coming to a big finale in this set, lore wise. How do you see it playing out? Because we're probably still a couple weeks away from like some serious lore articles. Do you think Arachne comes out on top?
I think honestly, just because of all the new amazing stuff, like 6 new Arachnes, everything that's going into this, like the excitement that's around it, I think regardless of actually whether she's coming out on top, I'm not sure, but I think definitely just in the grand scheme of things, I see them coming out on top. I think there's just so much really exciting and new stuff coming out. And I think that the lore, I mean, just from my research on the mask video and everything that's kind of going into that about the demon stuff, there's just so much interesting content there that there's no way that Arachne is not coming out on top. I mean, like, what do you think? I don't know.
I mean, honestly, it feels like, listen, if I were to speculate on what's happening from what we've seen so far is, well, the Emperor gets assassinated. We all know that happened. And then Fang and Syndra are like, that's not chill. We're going to go get whoever killed the Emperor. Happens to be Arachne. And then they're like, oh, we got Arachne. Game over. And then Arachne's like, well, actually, I'm like a demon. And you're not going to kill me. So I think that Arachne has a bit of an upper hand here. And I'd be surprised.
Oh, yeah.
And listen, I don't think Brian Gottlieb's letting Arachne lose, to be honest. He's not.
Well, no, exactly.
Brian's not letting Assassin lose at this point. He put out Arachne the first one, and it wasn't that good. I mean, it was awesome, but it wasn't viable. He's like, oh wait, what about this? Boom, Azuri, and then that wasn't enough. Boom, New, and then Anu's like an amazing deck. You know what? How about 7 Arachnes? So
we give this another go with Arachne.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm excited to see how it comes out. And I've had such a busy like December, November that I haven't even been able to like get as excited as I can. But now that things are like kind of settling down for me, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm ready. So
Oh yeah.
Now we got to do the fresh faves. which are going to be some of your favorite
Okay.
cards in the game. And then we're going to answer some listener questions, and then we're going to say goodbye, Liv, sadly.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean
It's very sad. This has been fun.
you'll be back on. I can almost guarantee it. Unless you didn't have a good time. If you didn't have a good time, no pressure. But if you had a great time, I mean, anyway.
Well, you'll be seeing me again then.
Yeah. So anyway, segues aside, who's your favorite hero?
Favorite hero has to be Azuri. She has been my number one from the start. Yes, I have strayed. I haven't been as loyal as I could have been. We saw some new, we saw some Aurora, but yeah, she's got to be my favorite. I love the swapping in thing. I know that new is also a bit sneaky like that, but I just think the way Azuri does it is very clean. Isolate CNC is very classic. And also I started with her, so she's my, she's got a special place in my heart.
She is one of the coolest assassins and coolest heroes, and won a Pro Tour. How about that? That's pretty good.
Yeah.
What's your favorite weapon?
Has to be going along with Azuri the Spider's Bite, and my mind might have changed, but I have to stay loyal because I made a bunch of crafts of the Spider's Bite in my first few months of the game. Made some crochet, like, Spider's Bites, made a cardigan with, like, a Spider's Bite on the back, so if I say anything else, myself that was making all of that would hate me. So it has to be Spider's Bite. There's no other weapon.
So, we're about to see a lot of dagger play in the next set. You got to give homage to the OG assassin dagger. It was what started it all. What's your favorite equipment?
Favorite equipment? I mean, can I say Flick Knives if I just said Spider's Bite? Okay, Flick Knives is honorary.
Okay.
But the Mask of Recurring Nightmares
Oh.
in new, it just looks so cool. The color is cool. The rainbow foil is cool. In Japanese, it looks cooler for some reason. And yeah, just make your opponent discard a card. It's evil. It's bad. I love it. So good.
Yeah, it certainly it makes as I haven't played new. I've always played against new, and you're just like, all right, if they have the chi, how bad does this block look? And you're just like, oh, it's bad no matter which way. So I'm gonna block like you have it. But yeah, it's an and looks amazing as well. What's your favorite run of the mill card? Card you throw into your deck. Dealer's choice here.
Don't want you to. Are you gonna hate me if I say something really
I don't hate anybody.
gross? Okay, well then I'll say it. I mean, there's a story behind this, which is that it happened to me, and it was disgusting, and I loved it. It was great, and I threw it in my deck immediately. But Vipox in Azuri.
What? This is not. That's not disgusting. That's awesome. What are you talking about? That's a great card.
So cool. Just Vipox, I think it was Justin Nick or something. It was one, and then it was not one, and then I had a handful of cards, and I was on 11, and I still just immediately lost the game. It was Blitz. It was so cool. Oh. Amazing. I never did it to anybody else, but it was done to me. So it was so cool. It was just amazing.
Nobody expects that
I love
ever.
it.
I would say I wouldn't expect that. No, that card's so cool. It's one of those ones that you're just like, I gotta figure out a way how to make this work, because it's a generic, right? So it could be in anything. Yeah. I know Benji was playing it a little bit because technically it can be unblockable, which is kind of neat. Now, final question here comes from our listener Junior. Shout out Junior. What class and talent would you be if you lived in the world of Wraith?
If I lived in the world of Wraith, there's so many cool ones. I feel like if I say assassin, it's just, oh man, what assassin? Oh, no, what talent and class? Gotta go for the Arachne, chaos assassin. So cool. It's so cool. I think there's nothing more exciting than tricking your opponent. I think not in a bad sport way, but just in a do I have it, do I not? and then they kind of guess wrong, and then you get to do your cool stuff, and they come back with cooler stuff, but it doesn't matter because your stuff was cool as well. But that kind of thing, and like chaos, I mean, we don't even know yet, but I just know it's going to be so interesting, and you don't really have to think about gameplay too much. I think in the game of life, I don't think about gameplay too much. I kind of just go with it. Just hit the microphone again. I don't know if you heard that. But yeah, going with it, seeing what happens, but also just adding an element of what's coming next. I have no idea. Am I going to become a Flesh and Blood YouTuber? Am I going to go and live in a shack somewhere? I have no idea. But yeah, I think like all the cool assassin stuff, and then like the chaos of chaos. I think that would definitely be it.
I mean, yeah, I think it reminds me of a little bit what you're talking about is the chaos theory that Jeff Goldblum's character talks about in Jurassic Park. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, he's basically just hitting on Laura Dern's character, but kind of the whole idea of that character is chaos, and I love it. But we do have listener questions, Liv. And these come from the Buds Discord. If anybody wants to ask some questions for our guests, I always post a couple days beforehand. First one comes from William from the Table Pit, another great YouTube channel. What experience do you have, or where do you gain knowledge or glen knowledge? I'm not sure. I might have mistyped that. From that let you come out of the gate swinging with some of the best edited Flesh and Blood videos.
I mean, best edited is a very kind comment. I'm going to take that to heart and go be very happy about that. That's very kind. Honestly, I have no idea. The TikTok stuff helped a little bit with like filming, but I think it's just from consuming really good content. You kind of have an idea of what it's meant to look like, and eventually you can work it out. And then I just have, my free DaVinci software on my laptop. And, it crashes my laptop as well, which is super fun. Like every 30 minutes, it just turns off. But yeah, I guess just from there. Yeah, I don't know. There's not really any experiences I have that I think help, other than amazing content on YouTube already. Just looking at that, like looking at people's podcasts like this one, looking at lore videos. I think Dead Summer Art, there's like lore stuff going on.
The best.
There's so much amazing editing out there, and I think you just look at that and think, okay, how can I make my video zoom in like 3 floating? You'll see that on my newest one. There's a bunch of the same like zooms, and just by watching that and putting it in to practice as much as I can with what I've got. Yeah, that's pretty much how.
Cool. Great answer to a great question. Next one comes from the famous Capolo, who asks, which symbol in Flesh and Blood is your favorite? It can be on card template, art, class symbols, etc.
It's gotta, I mean, this is again not betraying my craft self who put a bunch of hours into silly things. I've made pitch stuff all the time. The pitch symbol, super cool. Is that a symbol? I don't know. Is that
the resource symbol, right? Like up in the top right
corner?
Yeah,
like the red and the black. Yeah. I'm wearing a pitch ear. I don't know if you can see, but there's like earrings.
Yes.
Right now.
Looks very good.
I don't know if it's like clear or not. But I've got those on. I think it's so cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Well, anyway, if you can't, it's. I swear it is. It's not. It's the pitch symbol. It's just so cool, and also it like reminds me of when I was first starting the game, and I kept trying to like tap my resource cards. It's like very, to try and use stuff, and I was like no. And I learned my first mechanic, which was like pitching for resources and things. That's got a special place. I'll have to say that.
Yeah, it is an iconic, I think, symbol too, and I love that kind of like black and red. Reminds me of Arachne's mask, to be honest. It's all coming together. Farcist asks, what initially attracted you to Flesh and Blood?
Honestly, the pace. I think coming from playing Magic casually, there's a lot of times where I would find myself gazing into space for 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and it gets to my turn and I don't know what's going on, and it's like, oh, okay, we're doing this again. Nice, fun. In Flesh and Blood, you don't really have that. I mean, some people do, like, it depends on the game, I guess, but there's very much, you're always engaged, you're always thinking, there's always something to do. You're thinking on your opponent's turn, you're thinking on yours, and I think just being able to use your mind to kind of just do things all the time is so much fun. And also, obviously, being a Kiwi game, I had to give it a shot at the beginning. Like, why would I not try this one? But yeah, just the pace of it, so much fun. So much fun. Anyone who plays Flesh and Blood will agree. Like, it's just too much fun.
Yeah. It is the perfect pacing. Another YouTuber, and it was on this podcast last week, Boosting Spendog, asks and takes some context clues from your YouTube name. What is your favorite tea, and why did you pick chamomile? Chamomile.
Okay, chamomile.
Yeah.
I said chamomile. I think in New Zealand we say chamomile. I don't know. I said chamomile. That might be, I don't know. Okay, I might be wrong.
It might be
but
chamomile
that is my favorite tea.
here in
America,
America, but camo kilometer over in New Zealand. Anyway, listen, I'm out of here.
Oh, okay. Oh, so funny. But no, very good. It's very makes you sleep, which I think is important. Most of all, very relaxing. Always reminds me of my study days. I'd study and then drink my tea and go to sleep. But there is a video coming out where I'm going to match heroes to their tea, so Ooh. I'm sure chamomile will end up being the favorite of one of my heroes. We'll see.
That makes sense. Yeah. That makes sense.
Don't want to give away too much.
I wonder who Earl Grey is going to be. Jarl Grey? Anyway, Sigma asked, what's the thing you love more doing in Flesh and Blood? Like types of decks or play styles? And what's the part you've struggled with the most in regards to improving or dealing with in the game?
I think like decks or play styles, or
yeah, I'm guessing it's like, do you like types of decks, or I guess it's more like what type of play style is your favorite? I think maybe is what Sigma's trying to say here.
I wish I could say control. I like genuinely. I wish I could say, like, oh, we're just doing the Azura game plan, getting cards to their hand, slowly going with new. But I was recently indoctrinated to Zen and how much fun that was to just go off with. And then if you've known me in real life, you'll know I've been being a bit of a traitor and playing Aurora, and she is just so much fun. Yes, a lot of the time it's 4 instants, and it's what do I do? But most of the time it's great fun. Goes so fast. So I think I'd have to say just no thoughts, head empty aggro. Very cool. So much fun, and there's a lot of depth to it if you want there to be, but there doesn't have to be, which I think is the best part about it. You can turn brain off and just go crazy, or you can really think about it and try and improve your skills and stuff with it. But yeah, very versatile. I like it a lot.
That's a great answer. And then the second part, what's the part you've struggled with the most in the game? Oh,
right, struggled. God, I think improving on like skill-based things can be very difficult, especially because, like I said, I kind of like to head empty, just blab the cards. I think you need to be in a certain kind of mindset to improve on gameplay. Not always. I think practicing obviously helps a lot. But it's very possible to just play again and again and again, repeating the same mistakes. So just sitting down and then very intentionally improving on something, like, okay, today I'm going to like pay attention to my opponent's board. Like today I'm going to pay attention to what I'm pitching and try and remember that kind of thing, to try and improve specific skills. I think that's quite difficult, and you do have to be intentional about it, and you can't just kind of mindlessly play, which is what I like to do. Like very much, it's relaxing to not do that. But yeah, I think I'm trying it, so we'll see.
Well, you said it earlier, like, the pace of this game is incredible. And sometimes you just be like, well, I'll just pitch this blue. I got 2 blues in hand. I'll pitch this one. It wasn't the right one. And you're like, I should be thinking about which blue. I do it all the time. So,
yeah.
And finally, Remy asks, what was the first hero you used when you first started out? I think he answered it by saying,
Azuri, my best girl. I think she's in the middle.
She's
in the middle. I don't know if you can tell, it's quite dark, but she's in the middle. Yeah, she's my number 1 girl. She was my number 1 girl. I still love her the most. So, yeah, she's awesome.
Big ups to Azuri. And that's going to do it for the show, Liv. You were an absolute pleasure to have on. I hope you do come back and, I think I can speak for all the buds listening that we're very excited to see what else you come out with and your journey in the game. It's going to be very exciting. Thank you so much. Please plug anything you'd like to plug. And yeah, thank you.
Cool. Thank you so much for having me. This has been so much fun. I'll admit I was a little nervous, but no, very easy. I cannot believe it's been an hour, potentially more. But yeah, if you guys, follow me on X, I think Blue Sky, just T and TCG, or YouTube, if you feel like it. I promise to have nice content coming out, and I promise that my microphone will be much improved from the first couple times you may have heard me.
Well, actually, this is like a nice little plug for you and anybody out there that is using microphones. I believe Darth Prentice, who did Darth not ask? He usually asks a question here, but he might be busy this week. But Darth Prentice just put out a video on how to improve your audio in DaVinci Resolve, which he is an audio wizard. So, if anybody's looking for that, if you're looking for some tips, I would say I would check that out as well. We love you, Greg. Greg's the man. You can all continue to find me on Blue Sky, Twitter, at freshbudspod. Mostly on Blue Sky these days, just posting a lot more when I get a chance anymore. Check out the Buds Discourse in the link below. YouTube, give us the old like, comment, subscribe. We still have that giveaway going. Once we hit the 1K subs, I'll be sending out those scarfs. It's hard to say. And then also, please check out my other podcast I do with my cousin Maddie, which we talk about indie video games called Fresh Juice. All of this is in the show notes below. And finally, Liv, I like to talk about food every episode. And I want to know what kind of food you want to talk about.
Food? Got it. Oh. What food?
What's your favorite? What are you craving? Strawberries?
Shoot. Strawberries are 100% my favorite food in the whole world. I brought like a giant thing of them to Armory a couple weeks ago.
There's one
there is. I do. I have a giant one. I have a giant one on my bed. Well, I guess it's like my filming area more than that. Anyway, yes, I do have a giant strawberry. Gotta be. Always craving. Best in summer, good in winter. So good. Do you like strawberries? I think you have to say yes now.
I do love strawberries. I love a strawberry shortcake. I remember growing up, my grandmother, who I loved very dearly, had a nice little garden, and she always grew strawberries. And you go to the grocery store now, you get some big old strawberries, but like sometimes they're just not that juicy. But hers were always like super tart and juicy. You're just like, man, these are. They hit. You put a little whipped cream on them, or even chocolate covered strawberries.
Chocolate, yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll be coming up to Valentine's Day here in February. I mean, that's like chocolate strawberry heaven, around here. Yep. So, geez, that's a good answer. We don't get funny enough, people don't say fruit a lot in this answer, but fruit's great. I love a good fruit. Yeah, so
we've got in Auckland, we've got I think 2 huge strawberry farms, just like maybe a 40-minute drive away, and you can go pick your own. If anyone's ever here, I highly recommend that. And you can get real fruit ice cream afterwards. It's got to be the best summer activity ever. It's like so up there, so much fun. Love it. Yeah, if you ever come by.
One more question for you, Liv. How do you feel about blueberries? It's another berry, not as good as strawberries.
By themselves, or like in stuff.
Listen, it's an open-ended question. If you said pancakes, blueberry pancakes, that'd be
blueberry pancakes.
Blueberry
pancakes are good. Blueberry are good.
I don't know. I mean, listen. I don't know. I've never been to New Zealand.
We don't have
invited to Queenstown.
Pancake. Oh, okay. Well, you have to take that up with James White. But look, I think we do have pancakes. We have very good. Okay. Plug Secret Kiwi Kitchen pancake mix. So good. You can buy. I think you can buy it at some supermarkets in the U.S. now. Family Friends Company. Such good pancakes. Like very kind of Kiwi style. They're good. Good with blueberries. Better with strawberries.
Awesome. I only said that. I like blueberry. I like strawberries better than blueberries, but there's a town in the state that I live in, New Jersey, that says they're the blueberry capital of the world. I don't know if that's true, but I guess they make the most, or they grow the most there. So when you said strawberry farms in Auckland, I was like, well, Hamilton, New Jersey has blueberry farms. Look how cool they
Blueberry
are.
farms.
But
I'll have to come and see if they rival our strawberry farms.
probably
I wouldn't,
not.
I wouldn't put it past them. Maybe.
Listen, we got
You
good
never know.
cranberries too down here. But anyway, that's all. That's enough fruit for the episode. And unfortunately, because we talked about so many berries that we don't have enough time for Charmer, but I'm sure we'll get to them at some point. Thank you all. Thank you, Liv. And stay fresh.